lot of streetwear brands follow the same playbooks, and honestly, it's getting boring. You have an ideal, share it with your friends or family members, then go on TikTok, make few shorts about your product, talk about the grind, hope one of these videos go viral, drop a hoodie that your friends and family members buy out of love, and you hope one day a local influencer wears it so you can call it a movement. But Black Scale, they couldn't do that because it was a different era. The name itself was deliberately mysterious. Black Scale read symmetrically and can mean literally anything, to the point where if we rewind back to that time, I was even confused with the name. They even styled the A as a V, which would be BLVCKSCVLE, adding another layer of mystery that made you work and research and dig just to understand how to read it properly. Other brands were trying to be accessible as possible to capture the biggest market share. Black Scale was creating barriers to entry. You had to understand the references to appreciate the designs. It was basically like an exclusive club that required the cultural knowledge to join. While everyone was chasing bright colors and flashy graphics, two guys working the back room of San Francisco's most legendary streetwear shop were plotting on something new, something darker, and the goal was to build an energy that turned darkness into dollars. Black Scale used a structure I studied named the City Roll System. This system is a strategic approach where each city plays a specific role in your brand's expansion. There's 4 crucial steps that let them grow from underground to mainstream success. By 2008, the pop-ups they curated were moving serious numbers. One pop-up they say pulled $40,000 in a month. But here's what could have gone wrong. It could have ended up being too niche or too dark for anyone to buy or understand what they were doing. Because I know some founders might want to take these type of strategies, and you gotta realize the line between edginess and being unmarketable is razor thin. You could be bold, but only if you're clear. But if people can't explain your brand in a sentence to their friend or family member, most likely no one will follow. Streetwear was going brighter, louder, and more extremist. But in the back room of Huff, San Francisco's most exclusive streetwear boutique, 2 employees were seeing something completely different. Michael Mega Yabut walked away from a high-paying pharmaceutical job to work retail at the sneaker store. And his family, they literally stopped talking to him. His girl even left him. By every conventional measure, most would think he made the worst decision of his life. But Mega understood something the pharmaceutical industry could never teach him, which is the biggest cultural shifts never happen in the spotlight. They get built in the shadows. Alfred was his partner in this dark vision. While others were designing for Instagram to create mood boards, these 2 were digging deep into Scandinavian metal, Anton LaVey's writings, punk aesthetics, and death metal art. They saw this massive gap in the market that nobody else was filling. And this is where this point of view come into play by realizing that streetwear had completely forgotten how to be rebellious. If we rewind back to November of that year of 2007, Black Scale launched, not with no fanfare or press releases, but just pure philosophy. Mega and Alfred understood something important as well. Launching the brand was just the beginning. The real test would be translating their underground credibility into actual physical retail spaces where people would spend money. A specific point of view beats broad appeal every single time. The wins is usually in being so specific that the right people feel like it's only made for them. The second step for this system is proof before rent. The $500 experiment. Fast forward to May 31st of 2009, Black Scale opened their first retail experiment, a pop-up store at 1798 San Jose Avenue in San Francisco. This wasn't their hometown dream location or strip that sell luxury pieces. It was just a $500 a month hole in the wall on San Jose Avenue where they could test if their dark aesthetic could translate to foot traffic and sell sales in real life. When testing out new ideals, a scrappy proof of concept is what you need to start off. And within this proof of concept, the results went crazy. $40,000 a month was pulled out of a small space with 3 employees and almost no overhead. Look, most streetwear brands don't fail because of weak designs. They fail because nobody's actually talking about them. You might have 10, 20, even 30,000 followers on Instagram, but if nobody's mentioning you outside your city, you're stuck. And that's the real problem. Followers don't equal respect. You can have numbers and still feel invisible. And this is why we help streetwear brands go from being local favorites to being known outside the city. This service is built for the brands that are tired of being slept on, the ones ready to get their name moving, talked about, and recognized beyond their block. If your brand already holds weight at home, but you're ready to be talked about outside your city, this is your shot. Sign up for our community strategy service to get your brand specifically positioned into another region. Hit the link in the description below because we only work with 4 brands per quarter. To get back to the video, it wasn't perfect, but it was put to action and it produced. This movement was clearly beginning to turn into something massive. The pop-up taught them everything they needed to know about retail without risking their entire business on expensive real estate, a move that many people rushed to make inside this industry. People wasn't just buying these pieces though, they were actually buying into a complete ideology. San Francisco was comfortable territory for them. They had connections, they understood the local culture, and knew what would resonate. If the brand was going to prove they were more than just a local phenomenon, they needed to test themselves in genuinely hostile markets where they had no built-in advantages. Some may be saying, oh, it's easy, what could have gone wrong? I mean, they could have opened up a store inside an expensive location and burned through all of their money before figuring out if the concept actually worked to even scale. Test small and learn fast and iterate if necessary. Once you strike something that's resonating with your community and recognition outside your circle, you can consider expanding, but only scale based on real data, not assumptions or feelings. This is important. Move on to step 3, which is the pop-up recon, conquering Fairfax. By late 2009, Black Scale experimented with a concept pop-up on Fairfax Avenue in LA, strategically timed around Black Friday when foot traffic and spending were at their absolute peak, with Supreme anchoring the entire scene and brands like the Hundreds, Diamond, and Undefeated establishing their neighborhood's credibility. Fairfax was already becoming the West Coast epicenter of streetwear culture. For Black Scale to succeed here, the LA community responded to the dark aesthetic just as strong as San Francisco locals. They learned that pop-ups let them experiment without massive risk. It allowed them to gather detailed customer data and build serious buzz for future permanent locations. It was market research disguised as a pop-up. They were spying on the market to understand exactly how to succeed there permanently. So instead of gambling their entire future on an expensive LA store lease, they invested just enough to learn everything they needed to know about the market. Discovering which products resonated, what price points worked, how customers behave, and of course what was their customer avatar, what type of human beings purchased their product. Every temporary pop-up should teach you something valuable about the influence of your brand. Approaching this mentality could just put you inside a power position. The more you test, the faster your brand will expand. The 4th and final step is borrowing credibility, the New York City's master move. November 15, 2010, Black Scale had a soft opening. It was the 26th of 2010. The grand opening was at 296 Elizabeth Street, New York City of November 26. This was their strategic move towards the next coast. It was an announcement that they belonged on the grand stage. New York in their eyes was the ultimate cultural space. If you can make it in New York City's absolutely brutal streetwear scene, you can make it anywhere in the world. Elizabeth Street put them right in the heart of downtown's fashion district, surrounded by boutiques and galleries that attracted both tourists and industry insiders. What made the New York City expansion strategic was that they partnered with SSUR, an established local brand, for the launch. Instead of coming in as West Coast outsiders trying to conquer the East Coast through pure force, they positioned themselves as collaborators, bringing something new and valuable to the existing local scene. This collaborative approach gave them instant credibility and local connections that would have taken years to build independently. Sometimes successful expansion isn't about conquest, it's about integration. You don't win by fighting the local culture. This will just put your brand at odds majority of the time. You win by adding something unique to it. If you're having difficulty integrating, you can enter hard markets with a local partner. Borrow credibility beat to earn credibility when you're moving quickly. Okay, so for this city road system, each location served a purpose. After proving their concept with pop-ups and building global credibility through New York City, Black Scale was finally ready to commit fully to Los Angeles. They established a permanent presence on Fairfax Avenue, joining streetwear heavy hitters that was rapidly becoming America's most important fashion destination. By this point, Fairfax was transforming from a Jewish neighborhood known mainly for Cantor's Deli into what people were calling the rodeo drive of streetwear. Every major brand wanted a piece of this action, and real estate was getting seriously competitive. The brand had massive advantages that newer brands didn't. They understood how local customers behave both inside and out. Most importantly, they built real relationships with other brands and store owners during their temporary activations. To put this simply, San Francisco was the foundation. This is where they proved the concept worked and built their core identity. It gave them street cred and a home base for operations. Once they established, they strategically moved to Los Angeles, which was the growth engine. This was where they scaled up, tested their ability to compete with major brands, and built the revenue base for national expansion. And after this move, it only made sense to go to New York City, which was the credibility machine. This was where they proved they belonged on a global stage and could succeed in the most competitive market in the world. By 2013, Black Scale had achieved something absolutely insane, which started as 4 t-shirts designed in a back room of Huff, had become a $10 million brand with stores on both coasts and a global following that included hip-hop's most influential tastemakers like Jay-Z and A$AP Rocky. What I want you guys to realize is that each city plays a specific role in your expansion strategy. Looking back at Black Scale's journey from 2007 to 2013, you can take the complete playbook right here. Always start with your home market to build authenticity. Test new markets with low-risk pop-ups. Enter harder markets with local partnerships. Then build permanent presence based on proven demand. In this type of energy and space where every brand is trying to appeal to everyone and capture the biggest possible market share, Black Scale succeeded by appealing to a group of people very specifically. They built an exclusive club that required cultural literacy to join, and that exclusivity became their biggest competitive asset. Today, Black Scale continues to operate. It's not as big as it once was, but their most important contribution to streetwear culture isn't their current collections. It's the blueprint they created for underground brands to achieve mainstream success without losing their edge. The underground doesn't have to stay underground forever. It just has to stay true to what made it underground in the first place. And if you could do that while building a strategic expansion system, you can turn your cultural credibility into serious business success. Once again, guys, we help streetwear brands go from local favorites to being known outside their city. If you guys would like to sign up for that service, be sure to look at the link in the description. So what's your move now? I would love to hear your comments inside the comment section. What underground culture are you going to bring to the mainstream? Alright, y'all, this is Lee from North Studios. Till next time, I'm out of here. Peace.